is the one that everyone is talking about. Gilbert Burns takes on Khamzat Chimaev in a welterweight clash. This will be the feature fight, so not the main co-main, but the one just below it. BC, very simple question to start this conversation. Why is this, anecdotally it seems like, why is this by far the most popular fan-interested fight on this card? I have my own theories, but let me hear yours.
Because, look, we've talked about this, and I've sort of looked it up and debated and racked my head. Like, when have you seen, a meteoric rise and a debut where somebody can come on the scene of the UFC, the highest level of the sport, and go from either unknown or contender or prospect to like instant title contender, where you really have no understanding of where that ceiling is? We've got a guy here, Luke, okay, who you can just tell, emotionally, his background in Chechnya and Russia, like he's just built differently. He willingly takes on almost this fun, villainous character. And yet he can go across two divisions. He's got sick knockout power. And he doesn't just have a great ground game. When you rewatch these dismantlings he's had in his 4 UFC appearances, including, Luke, how you don't even want to say easy it was against Li Jiangliang. It was like, it was like a purposeful beating in which, let's not forget, he picked up Lee, slammed him purposely in front of Dana White, and then is like talking. This guy, Luke, is not just, oh shit, should he be fighting Kamaru now? This guy is one of those special, he's screaming that he is one of those special ones. The kind of the kind of shit we haven't seen since John Jones was rising. Like that all sounds like ridiculous hyperbole, Luke. And at times when I look at these betting odds, I'm like, nah, come on, bro. He's never fought past the second round in his life, and now we're putting in there with Gilbert Burns. But Luke, he goes up to middleweight, knocks out Mearshart like nothing, comes back down to welterweight after a year off and 2 disastrous battles with COVID in which he was basically retiring online. And dude, he chewed up and spit out one of the toughest outs in any division in Jiang Liang, and just was like, I want it all and I want it now. Luke, Brock Lesnar is an interesting comparison because he came on the scene with such little experience and then was instantly a title contender and won the championship right after the loss to Mir and then rebound, and then he's right in it. This is different because Chimaev didn't come over here outside of really that 2017 Brian Stan interview that keeps getting played now, where he predicted that there's this guy in Sweden that's coming on and he'll be here one day. Outside of that, Luke, when do you remember hearing Chimaev's name before 2020, when he comes out on the scene in the middle of the pandemic, opportunistically wins 3 fights, including 2 in 10 days? Like, this guy came from seemingly out of nowhere in terms of the mainstream public eye. And now you're like, dude, I'm not sure if he rolls through Gilbert Burns like the odds makers are telling you. I'm not sure he shouldn't be favored over Kamaru Usman. Dude, Kamaru Usman's the pound for pound best fighter in the world and on his way to entering the GOAT upper room. And we're like, you know what? I'm really not sure. And look, for anyone that heard that and was like, come on, watch the 4 fights in a row and tell yourself anything different. Luke, I don't know if this guy could possibly keep this momentum going at this level. But the reason why this is the quote-unquote people's main event, and the reason why the online numbers are butchering the 2 fights above it, is because we not only have someone potentially super special in Chimaev, but we got the freaking most battle-tested, savage, badass guy standing across from him in 35-year-old Gilbert Burns, that this is a hell of a matchmaking job by Sean Shelby and Mick Maynard. That's why, Luke. That's freaking why, okay?
Well,
hell yeah.
Credit to Gilbert Burns, and he showed us the messages on his WhatsApp to his manager. He requested this. So you got to give Gilbert Burns, I don't know if they forced this on him. It seems to me like he was electing to take it, and at a bare minimum did. So I just want to make sure that Gilbert gets some credit here, that he wasn't necessarily strong-armed into taking it. But BC, I saw a tweet from our friend Aaron Bronstetter. I didn't get a chance to see the video because it was blocked. You can only see it if you're in Canada. But it was a really interesting question. He was having a debate with Robin Black, and he was apparently the argument was, is Khamzat Chimaev the greatest prospect in UFC history? He might be. He might be. I would say if he beats Gilbert Burns, then there's no question that he is. To your point with the Brock Lesnar, but Brock Lesnar, I remember, if you're folks who don't remember the ads when he came in 2009, 2008, whatever it was, there was this video package that the UFC made, and it was like from the ring to the cage, and they showed Lesnar in like his wrestling outfit, like grabbing the ropes, and then it switches to him with the gloves on, and it was this, they were playing off of the existing popularity and fan base that he had achieved from his time in college and the NFL, but obviously mostly from professional wrestling. To your point, Khamzat came out of the darkness. He's like Bane, ready to fight Batman. You know what I mean? Like you immediately adopted the darkness. I was born into it, molded by it. It feels like that a little bit. Whether he is the greatest prospect in UFC history is certainly a matter of debate, and I wish I could see that video. But I'll say this, BC, this is a historic bout. Truly a historic bout. And I made a point yesterday in arguing about this. It reminds me very much of Daniel Cormier heading into the Josh Barnett fight to win the Strikeforce Heavyweight Grand Prix.
Yes.
And it reminds me of St-Pierre just before the Frank Trigg fight at UFC 54, because you get these moments where someone is on their way and you can clearly see that like something big is going to happen, but you don't know exactly how and when and what's going to happen. And then in his, I think it was his 10th or 11th pro fight, Cormier actually won against Josh Barnett, and then we knew, okay, this guy's championship material.
That's a great comparison, Luke. That's a great comparison because despite the Olympic pedigree, right, and the wrestling credentials, dude, no one thought, dude, seriously, unless you're a hardcore amateur wrestling fan, when he was the late alternate to fill in that Grand Prix, you're like, who?
Yeah, but then remember, he beat Bigfoot, and you're like he just smoked him like it was nothing.
Yeah.
And you were like, whoa, okay, where's this going? And then he beat Barnett the way he did. And then what's the significance of this, of GSP over Trigg, of Cormier over Barnett? It's that, and then, by the way, these all happen around 10 or 11 fights. If you look at him, for Khamzat, this is his 11th. For GSP, that was his 11th. And for Cormier, I think that was his 10th or 11th. It happens right around this moment where someone who is clearly destined for something big, how big we don't know, but someone who's clearly good, they get a contender who's not just highly ranked or good, but if they can beat that contender, it shows you that they're ready for the championship level. It shows, maybe not like the next fight, but like their championship material. That's what it shows you. That's what this fight is. If Khamzat Chimaev beats Gilbert Burns, ladies and gentlemen, make not a single mistake about it. He is ready for a title shot. Burns is that good. And again, I'm not talking some controversial win or he squeaked by or the judges fucked it up. I'm talking about, imagine a scenario where no doubt about it, he was the better guy. If you beat a guy like Gilbert Burns in your 11th MMA fight, motherfuckers, he is ready for the title after that. That's how good he would be. And so for those reasons, I want folks to understand this is a historic bout.
I think you're right. That's the right way to frame it. And I didn't think of that using that word, but it makes sense. And you look at that there's times that doors open when someone's coming on, whether it's out of nowhere like this or they surge and put it all together. And sometimes they're able to do things that you don't think is possible. The McGregor magic of 15 and 16 were just like, dude, did anyone think he's going to knock out Aldo with one punch, then win the lightweight title, and then get the biggest fight ever against Floyd? No one, right? Adesanya, Luke, there was a window there where we're like, maybe he's going to move up and beat Blachowicz and then maybe fight John Jones for the heavyweight title. Sometimes there's these openings. Dude, there is a potential opening, and it's talk about putting pressure on somebody who's still largely unproven. This is the largest amount of pressure put on one man's shoulders. But there is an opening here where if he handles Gilbert Burns with the ease that, Luke, I've been taking note, every single analyst is saying, you know what? I don't want to believe in these fight odds, but you kind of have to. Could you imagine if he then goes and defeats Usman? Dude, we are going to be taking out all of our drums and banging them for him versus Adesanya. Dude, there is a path potentially for him to go down that, very few ever get a chance to even sniff the possibility of. That's why we are this excited.